cap, or otherwise known as the culotte. If you look at your top butt, there's a natural seam. I've kind of been working on that already. And this is what it is. It's a triangular shape of meat. So we're going to go in and we're going to unseam, we're going to seam through and pull that piece off. Then we'll trim off the fat on either side and some of these sinews, and we'll divide the bottom into two pieces. And we'll see how that goes too. Is that the butcher paper? Beautiful. Thanks, Mark. I mean, this is a nice dividing seam. Fat, unusable trim. Some places they leave a little bit of fat on, so when you cut the steaks you get a little layer of fat. But for our exercise today, we're just going to take it right down to the lean meat. A little bit of fat's going to sear when you sear it off. But what we'll do is these will cryovac individual, and then on next week each group take like a couple. When we're going to portion them, we'll just cut them straight down, get like 4 steaks out of each one. Sometimes they're a little different sizes, so you might put 2 together to make an order. But we'll save these, and on I think it's Thursday it's going to be, is that we do the cryovacking. We want to weigh this culotte at one point because that's separate. And that had its own price. Basically, the top butt was $14.12. The price on that is $4.21 a pound. $4.21, and we can multiply that out, and it'll tell you what our cost is. But we can do that later. We just have to write everything down. We can calculate everything later, figure out what it's at. All right, now we've got this other little piece of meat here. So let's again, we just keep trimming the fat away. My intention here is there is a kind of a natural eye on one side of this, and the other side is kind of sinewy. So I'm going to trim around. I'm going to try to find the dividing lines. I'm going to find the dividing lines. We're going to separate that eye, and we're gonna tie that up, and we're gonna cut baseball steaks out of that one. We may do that today, we may do that on Thursday too. Those we're gonna fabricate into 4-ounce little medallions, and we're gonna give to the breakfast cooks. They're gonna make steak and eggs next Monday or Tuesday. So let me just keep trimming away at some of this stuff. See where we're at.
As a team, should we be weighing out all of these things, or do we just have class numbers?
I think you should weigh all these things out as a team, or as a, well, kind of let's do it as a sub-team, because there's 2 per team, so that would mean, so 3 of you can work together on a roast, all right? And so then each sub-team should do a sheet on this piece of meat. We're gonna have, it's gonna be 3 different things we're fabricating. I think at least 3. We're fabricating the culotte, which sells at a certain price. We're fabricating a top sirloin steak, a top sirloin roast, and stew meat. So I think the roast and the stew meat are basically the same price per pound. So we'll see how all that works out. So yeah, keep track of everything individually, and at the end of it, we'll kind of put it all together. That nice little piece of an eye, you can all see, that will tie up real nice and round and get great little steaks out of there. Bloody meat there, fat, fat, fat. There's not much on there. Just say I cut that one decently. Meat will just take it on the end here. You see again some kind of tough. This is the sinews we were talking about yesterday that attaches to the bones. This very thick, unedible elastine, something like that. I'm going to just split this down the middle so we tie it about the same size of our last roasts we had. So we'll get 2 roasts for sirloin, and the steaks. So we need to weigh these guys. This guy here, though, let me, do you have string? So you have to tie this one a little differently. Or no, the coulout's separate, right? Do the little flat piece separate. Do the roasts. Usable trim section. So kind of here, we're going to make, we just write coulant over on the side. Again, this is an interesting piece because there's so many different things we're getting out of it. So make a side note on it and we'll get there. I'm kind of tying these individually is because to cut the steak then, the little medallion, we'll just cut between the strings. So you'll have a little steak there, little breakfast steak there.
So why do we keep those steaks tied?
The shape. So when you sear them, they're going to be nice and even and hold that shape. You can sear either side, roast it medium rare, or saute it medium rare, and then cut the strings. You could also, while you're doing it, if you wrap bacon around it, tied it like that, then you'd have like the tournedos similar to like tenderloin you do that way. But that's kind of how I want these, and then I want these bagged, maybe like 6 in a pack. And if we got time to do that today, we'll do it. If we just get to these sections and tie those roasts for roasting, we can always just bag these and tie them on Thursday when we cut steaks. And that's how that would be done. So first, take the cap off, or the coulant. Second, get the eye out. Trim the fat, get the eye out. And third, get the roasts. Now, I haven't really got trim. I mean, we could weigh this as stew meat. And once we get the roasts cut, so that would actually be the weight on say, this trim right here. Again, that'll be roast or stew, and that's the same price. That's selling for the $4.21, maybe for the whole piece of meat. And then the other way we need to get data is this fat, what we're throwing away. And hopefully all of these things add up to what we started with. That's the trick, because if not, there's something else. What else do we have here? It's not in the picture. Well, we should have weighed that. We had said that tray was our purge in our bag. No, because the tray's taking a total weight. And we would throw that away anyway, right? The bag and the blood, so we don't need to worry about the rest. Write that